Welcome to Brownfield's Trade Talk Showcase. I'm anchor reporter Megan Grebner. With us is Danielle Beck with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you, although not in person this year.
I know. I wish it was in person, but it's nice to see your face regardless.
Well, today we're going to talk about one of your favorite topics and one of your areas of expertise, and that's cell-cultured meat. So there's been a lot that's been happening and a lot of discussions that have been going on. Let's kind of bring everybody up to speed with where things are and what you're looking ahead to in the next year.
Yeah. So, NCBA, we were first out of the gate to pass policy on the issue of fake meat, be it cell-cultured or plant-based, way back in 2017. 2018 was the year of cell-cultured meat. I spent 2019 focused on plant-based. 2020 has been taken up mostly by COVID, unfortunately. But moving into 2021, we are back in the cell-cultured field now that we've seen a little bit of action. And so just about a month ago, FDA announced that they were putting out a request for information on seafood nomenclature for cell-cultured seafood. We anticipate that USDA will be moving forward after the first of the year, doing an advance notice for proposed rulemaking on cell culture nomenclature for meat and poultry products that they have oversight for. And so NCBA, we're gearing back up. And, Megan, at this point, not a whole lot has changed because I feel like since day one, everybody in the cell cultured industry has been saying, yeah, we're ready to go. We can go to market today. And there's still a lot of speculation about the validity behind that. And so, I won't comment on that, but I will say that when it comes to cell cultured products, they need to be differentiated in the marketplace. They need to be held to the same regulatory standards as real meat products. And as long as the agencies that are overseeing these products get that regulatory scheme right, we're going to be fine. We'll be happy to compete on that fair, even playing field. We're not really sure what the Biden administration looks like yet. And so it's hard to say what life will look like in that regard, but we're going to be fighting hard regardless of who's in the administration, in the White House, at USDA, FDA, moving forward. So that was a long-winded answer.
That's okay. As we talk about this, and not to be crass, but why does it matter? Why is it so important that NCBA is fighting to make sure that there's a level playing field and that this is being regulated through the correct agency or who you deem as the correct agency?
Yeah. It really matters who regulates it because of the way the laws are written. USDA holds meat and poultry products to some of the highest, most stringent regulatory standards when it comes to labeling and when it comes to product oversight from a food safety perspective. The way that FSIS conducts their oversight operations and their labeling review really does dictate how, meat and poultry products are treated, and it's in a fundamentally different way than FDA, who oversees, 80% of the grocery store. When it comes to this fair, even playing field, having USDA at the table leading this charge when it comes to food safety and labeling is really what's going to ensure that these products are marketed in a way to consumers that helps them understand what they truly are. One of the newer terms, so initially it was cell-cultured if you were in that industry. Cell-based was a term that was sort of catchy. Most recently, folks have shifted over to cultivated meat. If you ask me, cultivated meat does not provide consumers with enough information to make informed purchasing decisions. What does cultivated mean? And so, when it does come time for them to enter the grocery stores, how they're labeled is really going to make a difference, and it's going to impact consumers' purchasing decisions. And so we want them to be differentiated in a way that allows consumers to know, okay, this is, real beef produced the way that God intended versus, a laboratory grown product. And so, we're going to be working with a firm on a consumer research survey and ensuring that we have some good data to provide FDA and USDA when the time comes, because we do think that, the consumer perspective matters here.
And obviously the competition is not anything that the beef industry is too worried about at this point.
No.
All right, I'm going to switch gears. You brought up COVID, and COVID-19's kind of been the story of 2020. And we've talked about this on the pork side a lot this year about concerns about packer and slaughter capacity, but that's also something that there's concerns about on the beef side. Talk to me a little bit about what you're watching and the biggest concerns from there.
Yeah. With a resurgence in COVID, obviously we are already starting to hear concerns about processing capacity. In our conversations with the packing industry, it seems like there have been a lot of really valuable lessons learned. And so we're going to do everything we can to help them through. God forbid, I'm going to knock on wood right now, we don't see the same type of disruptions. I think that because of some of these lessons learned, they're going to be able to keep the supply chain moving. They're a lot better equipped this go around. Hopefully we don't see the same type of disruptions in market volatility, but, that was our biggest focus right out of the gate. Once we started seeing major outbreaks of this pandemic across the United States, we worked very closely with the current administration. We feel very confident that no matter who is in the White House, they're going to be on our side and willing to work with us, because at the end of the day, ensuring that, beef continues to get to the shelves of grocery stores across the U.S. is really critically important, and that's not a political or partisan issue. But we've also, got a lot of valuable lessons that we learned from a policy perspective, and that's really going to inform how we engage with Congress moving forward. And we're looking forward to that.
Talk to me a little bit about, are there specific breaks that you're worried about in the supply chain as it relates to the COVID or the resurgence and the increase in cases again, about getting it from point A to point B and ultimately at the grocery store?
That's a good question. Obviously, flexibility when it comes to transportation regulations, ensuring that the processing capacity workforce, be it FSIS, federal inspectors, state inspectors, or, day-to-day employees, having that continuous availability of workforce labor. That's really critically important. I think all of the above, it's hard to pinpoint just one issue, a patchwork of decisions. If one governor makes one decision and then, the next state over has an entirely different approach to this, that causes some unrest. But, the beef industry, our supply chain is a little bit unique. We're not like, hogs and, poultry in, if you're fed past, a certain day, or, the animal gets above a certain weight, it needs to be condemned and euthanized. We have a little bit more flexibility in that regard. And so, we were really proud to not have to, resort to euthanasia. We were able to hold cattle back on grass for a lot longer. It didn't create an ideal situation in the marketplace, but, we are lucky in that regard. And so I think, I'm again knocking on wood, keeping my fingers crossed that this is all just speculative. But processing capacity moving forward is a big focus for NCBA.
Are you starting to have those conversations as you prepare to transition into the next administration and the next Congress to make sure that they understand the importance and the urgency that can come with this, knowing that this is a potential downfall and concern for the industry?
Absolutely. Prior to COVID, we had been hearing concerns from our producers, calls for more competition in the marketplace, more producer ownership, greater access for small and mid-sized processing facilities, be it, whether they're state inspected, able to market or access other states' marketplaces, or just compete with ease or more ease with some of the bigger packers. And so COVID absolutely heightened some of those calls. And we have been looking at sort of a host of different approaches. We were thrilled when Chairman Peterson and former Chairman Lucas introduced the Ramp Up Act in the House, and then there's a Senate companion, and that provides grants for any facility looking to become part of the federal inspection system. We've seen the Price Act introduced in the House by Rep. Dusty Johnson, and that includes loan guarantees for any producer entity or otherwise looking to engage and start up their own facility or expand out. There are several different legislative proposals. We've got a few in our back pocket that we'll be looking to work very actively on next Congress. And then, we're also looking at ways that we can make improvements to the system without having to rely on the folks on Capitol Hill. And so this is a big focus for NCBA. It's part of our long range plan. I think there's a lot of really positive opportunities for us to engage in and really play a leadership role on behalf of our membership. We hear the calls of our membership for more processing capacity. Lessons learned from COVID. This is absolutely one of the top, if not the top issue. Hook space is key. And so we're going to be pursuing a host of different opportunities. And then, in the short term, working with whoever's in the White House, the administration, state and local governments to ensure that they're doing everything and anything that they can to keep the supply chain moving while also keeping their workers safe.
Danielle, always great to see you, and we look forward to catching up in person, hopefully, at NCBA in August.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Danielle Beck with National Cattlemen's Beef Association. I'm Megan Grebner for Brownfield.